So for me, in conclusion, I see the process that's happening here today as a part of negotiation. I don't see it as a bad thing. But an agreement is something that everybody can agree to. And I'm not willing to say I agree when I don't. We all want an agreement. I certainly do. And want one that fulfills both the needs of the Adams Lake Band and also the needs of the taxpayers of Salmon Arm. So if we are able to address these two issues, that is the frontage road development and the development permit inclusion, then I would certainly be in agreement with an amended negotiated agreement. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Larson.
Thanks. Was that it? Were there any questions in there that you wanted them to respond to during that? That's right. No? Or did you guys wish to?
Not at this time.
No?
Councillor Larson.
Hey, thank you. I agree that we need to work together. My vision of Salmon Arm doesn't really necessarily have these lines drawn on this map like is shown in Appendix 1. Because I think in 20 to 50 years, Salmon Arm, you won't be able to tell if you're on First Nations land or on the City of Salmon Arm land, because I believe. And I think what Councillor Harrison was pointing out is that this is an agreement that's taken time to materialize to the tripartite agreement that we have now. Different servicing agreements for different properties, and being that this is the closest property to Salmon Arm, we're seeing an application here for, well, a potential application for a large commercial development that we really need to work together. And Councillor Flynn said that we're maybe not working close enough, but long term I think that we will be looking at something that works best for the city and best for the First Nations. I think it's a great step that we're here talking about this today. It's a positive proper development that I think is going to enable the Adams Lake and the event and the City of Salmon Arm to work together and be successful and positive in the future. So I too have concerns about the development and the development, and I would like to explore that a bit further, but I'd like to hear what other councillors have to say first.
Councillor Flynn.
I just wanted to clarify, I didn't think we were working. I was reading from a letter provided by an organization that says that a negotiated agreement that respects both parties could be beneficial to all concerned, and I was just trying to make the point that staff has been negotiating this agreement for over 12 months or 10 months. And I wanted to ask staff questions with regards to their memo. And if we could page 2, which is page 157, I would appreciate it, because one of my questions is related to that. I'm just waiting.
Somebody work on this.
I read it out, it's probably easier for people to read themselves. Okay, I'll ask Carl while we're working on it, because it won't take long. Page 2, Carl, at the bottom, your bottom paragraph. I just want to understand the level of negotiation, because Councillor Harrison mentioned that this is an opportunity to negotiate, and I agree that negotiation is important. I just want to understand that this agreement has come back to city staff and to council a couple times. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question?
It's come back to council a couple times, and we brought up our points of negotiation a couple times, and then those have been taken back to both the band and to the upper, and as part of negotiation, and this is where staff has ended up and recommended we move forward. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And the other question I had was the next page. I'd just like for the gallery and for council, for you to, the third paragraph down, actually that's too far, page 3. Page 4, sorry. I will go to page 4. Third paragraph down, this agreement is not required. Could you just clarify if this agreement doesn't happen, what could forward and the benefits of this agreement over having no agreement, or having the existing master agreement only be the only agreement?
Sure. Your Worship, as the memorandum indicates, this amending agreement not necessary for Lot 7 to develop. It's already covered under our master servicing agreement. The reasons why the developer is asking for this amendment, the first one is because the master agreement does not provide for storm drainage in this location. So with that change, it allows the development to connect to the city's storm drainage system. That is not essential for the property to develop. Storm drainage could be handled in another way.
And is it better for the community that this storm drainage, both environmentally and everything else, is handled this way?
I believe so. The other way would be for it to go under the Trans-Canada Way, right out into the lake.
So from staff's point of view, this is a better environmentally way to handle the storm drainage and allows us some ability to...
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
The second reason the developer is asking for this agreement is it contains language that basically protects servicing to Lot 7 in the event that there's some kind of dispute between the city and the band in the future. And I think your second question was what does the city achieve with this agreement that we would not achieve otherwise? Those are highlighted in the memo. Financial contributions to 17th Street Southwest, 4th Avenue Southwest, and most importantly, property and a financial contribution towards a new signalized intersection at 20th Street Southwest, which we've been talking about here for a long time.
Okay. And that 20th Street Southwest would be happening in the location we as a community feel is the best spot for the overall development of our community?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'd like to add too, another benefit of the agreement, and it allows the city to water main looping along the Trans-Canada Highway down 10th Avenue. The developer is paying for that. In that agreement, that won't happen.
And that benefits our community in what way?
I'll ask the Director of Engineering to speak to that.
And the value of it.
Your Worship, that will provide a loop water system to the proposed development, and it will also provide interply to lands east or part of the proposed development, so from Canadian Tire West right out to the band lands, and improve our ability to supply water. And I don't know the value right now.
Thank you.
Okay. And then my last question, Carl, your memo was on the last page, your memo, page 4, and it relates to Councillor Head's comments. The city has no land use regulatory authority on reserve lands, and this principle is deeply entrenched in provincial and federal law, and the developer has recognized and committed to the city design guidelines. I understand as part of the negotiation and discussion, you took back Councillor Harrison's concerns with regard to this, and it came back very clearly that that entrenchment principle that's in provincial and federal law, the other parties do not want to move anywhere on that. The letter from the developer was designed in order to somewhat appease our concerns?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you have any ability to, or any potentially land breaking or custom breaking or new laws coming from us trying to negotiate something more beyond that, except for having this agreement thrown out parties if we kept pushing that?
No, I don't see that happening, I guess.
And I guess the question I would have is if things like Band agreed to using our development permit process on their lands, would we then be willing to allow them to make decisions on development permits on our land?
It would be up to council.
Yeah, it's been a similar question to the administrator. Well,
Thank you.
rhetorical.
Yes, it was a rhetorical question.
Councillor Kendall.
Well, I do not have concerns of design because I can't imagine that you would want to have something that would stand out and not look as good as anything else along the highway. So I would think that would be a real negative for you, so I don't share that. But I would like somebody to explain a little further about the frontage road ending where it does, because it's